So, have you ever actually stopped and wondered what's in that plastic bottle of water you just bought? We're about to dive deep into the, let's say, murky world of the Australian bottled water industry. It's time to peel back the label and see what's really going on.
I mean, you'd think so, wouldn't you? It seems so simple. You're thirsty, you grab a bottle, you drink. End of story. We all just kind of assume that what we're getting is pure, clean, and probably even better for us than what comes out of the tap at home.
And right there, that assumption, that's exactly what this entire industry is built on. The truth is, what you're often paying a premium for is a masterclass in marketing, not necessarily better hydration. So let's get into it.
And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number. The Australian bottled water industry is worth over $600 million a year. That is a gigantic industry built on selling you something that, for the most part, you can get for nearly free.
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we're going to treat this like a proper investigation. We've lined up the main suspects, the brands you see on shelves every single day. Let's take a closer look at the evidence.
All right, our first suspect is one you've definitely seen everywhere, especially in gyms and sports centers: Pump. It's marketed as the ultimate fuel for active people, the secret to peak performance. But is it really?
Just look at the huge gap between the promise and the reality here. On one side, you've got this slick marketing about premium hydration, and on the other, the simple truth, it's basically just filtered tap water with some salt, artificial sweeteners, and flavoring thrown in. Things you could literally mix up at home for pennies. So, the charges against Pump are pretty damning when you lay them out. You're paying top dollar for tap water. The flavored versions have artificial sweeteners that have been linked to gut problems. And get this, the high sodium content can actually make you thirstier. That's the exact opposite of what you want.
Next up in our lineup, we have two brands that are absolutely everywhere: Frentel and Coolridge. Their whole vibe is about nature, pristine mountains, purity. But let's look a little closer, shall we?
And this, right here, is the core of the deception. The promise is this beautiful image of untouched nature. The reality? They're taking regular old municipal tap water, yep, the same stuff that comes out of your kitchen sink, filtering it, and then selling it back to you at an insane markup.
Now, this is the key piece of jargon you need to learn. When you see the words purified water on a label, that's industry code for filtered tap water. It is not, and I'm going to say it again, it is not natural spring water, no matter how many pretty mountains they slap on the bottle.
Let's move on to our next suspect, the budget option, Aquapora. It's super cheap, which is always tempting, but that low price tag might come with some pretty serious hidden costs, especially for your health.
Because it's so minimally filtered, a lot of people notice a chemical aftertaste. But the real problem is the flimsy bottle itself. It's much more likely to leach chemicals into the water, especially a nasty substance called antimony when it gets warm. You know, like when you leave a bottle in a hot car? Yeah, that's a risk that's just not worth the tiny savings. Now, for a brand that tries to position itself as a more sophisticated, healthy choice, Mount Franklin Lightly Sparkling. It feels a bit fancy, right? Well, the truth is a little harder to swallow. So, first off, this water isn't naturally sparkling. It's processed water that's been artificially carbonated. That process actually makes the water acidic, and that low pH can, over time, erode your tooth enamel, so it's far from the harmless, healthy drink it's made out to be. And for our final suspect, we have one of the most controversial brands on the entire planet, Nestle Pure Life. And here the investigation goes way beyond just what's in the bottle and into the ethics of how it even gets there in the first place. The charges against Nestle are really severe. You've got the usual issues, using processed tap water, problems with microplastic contamination. But on top of that, the company faces huge global backlash for its water extraction practices and for publicly questioning whether access to water is even a fundamental human right. So we've looked at all these individual brands, but what this really shows is a much bigger systemic problem. There are hidden contaminants that affect pretty much the entire industry, no matter what label is on the bottle. Just let that sink in for a second. Hundreds of plastic particles per liter. This isn't a rare issue affecting one or two bad brands, it's widespread. Every time you drink from a plastic bottle, you are almost certainly swallowing microplastics. And we're talking about things like microplastics from the bottle breaking down, which are linked to inflammation, phthalates from the packaging, which can mess with your hormones, and that chemical we mentioned earlier, antimony, which leaches from the plastic and can cause serious stomach issues. This is the unseen price of convenience. Okay, after looking at all that evidence, the verdict is pretty clear.
But this isn't just about scaring you or telling you what to avoid. It's about showing you a clear, simple, and frankly much better alternative.
So let's look at the final showdown. On one side, you have bottled water. It's expensive, it carries contamination risks, and it's just awful for the planet. On the other side, filtered tap water. It's incredibly cheap, it's safe, and it creates zero single-use plastic waste. I mean, when you see it side by side like this, the choice becomes pretty obvious, doesn't it?
And here's how easy it is to make the switch. It's just a simple 3-step plan. Step 1, ditch the disposable bottles. Step 2, invest in a decent water filter for your home. And step 3, grab a reusable bottle to take with you. It is so much better for your wallet, your health, and the planet.
You know, this quote really says it all. The entire $600 million industry isn't really built on giving you a better product. It's built on selling an illusion, on shaping your perception, and of course, on turning a massive profit from it.
So, the next time you go to grab a bottle of water, just ask yourself this one question. Now that you know the truth that's hiding behind the label, what choice are you going to make?